Very valuable.
Definitely a necessary pickup. As long as you're just trolling around the Baron pit for the moment.
Exu just trolling around the bottom lane for the moment.
Yeah. Reddit just trolling around Reddit for eternity.
That's very true.
Yep. Twitch chat right there with him. Whatever you say, Leona, or whoever you were.
I think that was Glista.
I think that was, well, it sounded kind of robotic, so I think that was Project Leona.
Oh, really?
It's my theory.
I think it was Glista.
I think it was Leona. We'll let the internet decide.
That's always been a great idea, Doa.
Yep. That's right.
There's never been a decision maker quite like the internet.
Well, this 1v1. Expression versus Ixu. Doesn't look like Dinar is able to push the Trundle out of lane too easily. Well, Fury needs to be careful.
Or does he?
Well, I mean, yeah, normally, yeah.
It's alright, Fury's there. Eat him up through the wall, no problem. And now, everybody back into the mid lane, and this is where Longzhu really going to start to get scary. Not sure Africa has done enough here. They are at a gold deficit. They're going to have some spectacular picks or engagements. They want to be able to take this game home, because as Longzhu really starts to group up, they have a split pushing advantage, especially doing extremely well with this Gnar against the Trundle in the 1v1. How exactly are they going to solve this? Because the Frozen Mallets and the Black Cleaver, Ixu is just not going to be able to do much. He's actually just abandoned building the Titanic Hydra entirely in favor of going for some magic resist.
Aha. Uh-oh, Crash in a little bit of trouble. They keep backing away though. Doesn't want to go that deep without knowing really where everybody on Longzhu is.
Yeah, he couldn't dive that turret really. Too much of a threat of people being in that mid lane, and Pure would have saved him with the Devour regardless. So backs off, heals himself up. A lot of damage from this LeBlanc. Dark Seal actually on Mickey. Noticed that earlier.
Cloud Drake on the way next. Now a useful Drake.
Very useful.
Especially for a team like Longzhu when they want to be able to...
Dancing around,
right,
preventing the engage, yeah. So
engage when they need to. Pretty good.
I agree. It should be pretty damn good for them.
That went up in about a minute.
Got the setup expression.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of tankiness yet with 2 offensive items and only the Negatron Cloak. Still gonna get out of that one. Mickey is the one thing that Longzhu really has to worry about. Frozen also, we've seen some more mid lane Karmas, but rarely have they gone for the Forbidden items, which of course add more shields. So this is very well and truly a Juggernaut composition.
All right. Haven't seen one of these for a while. Coming in, looking for damage. 10 seconds till that next dragon. And Expression almost back to Mega Gnar now. He's getting there. Both top laners with their teleports as well. Frozen lacking his, but he's around, so it's okay. And Mega Gnar maybe a little bit earlier than Expression would have liked. Africa probably being smart just to kind of stay back. Now though, moving in.
This is the tough part.
Yeah, they're just going for it.
Just getting bullied out of the lane right now. Difficulty actually finding an angle to engage upon and taking some poke in response. Sunflower out of position.
Yep, takes quite a bit of damage. Been a lot of poke, but not a lot of actual engages yet by each team.
Well, Longzhu just has to be patient. They are slowly winning the situation. There's a huge wave in the top lane heading towards a naked inhibitor right now, and Africa just has to go deal with it. There's not really a way they can defend this Drake. Longzhu did a great job of playing patiently and finding themselves an opportunity to double back and take their third Drake of the game.
Yep, that is big. Alira has to get over the wall. There's a flash, there's a body slam. He's going to make it out, but getting that summoner always feels good.
It's so huge to get Lyra's flash. He is the one person who can really get onto the Kog'Maw right now.
Yeah, that flash body slam could have done it. As is, Longzhu trying to take down this turret. Yeah, Afrika having a little bit of trouble defending it. Whoa.
Yep, Mickey has been
low already. Yeah, that's right. Goodbye, clone. Oh, well.
It's too late. I mean, at this point, I think it's too late in the game.
Yeah, I think so, too.
There's nothing you can do against this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, I mean, Pure just preventing the damage from Mickey by just eating up Fury for just a moment.
Just the shields, too, from from the Karma. There's so little you can do.
Yeah.
This is the first Juggernaut composition we've seen in a while, though, but expected after we first saw Africa playing this and Karma still in the meta.
The Longzhu's playing it out really well, too.
Yep.
I mean, they're being methodical. They're not making hasty decisions.
They're itemizing differently. Ardent Sensor now completed for Karma, so that's really useful in a Juggernaut composition. And we've previously seen Faker do this build on mid lane Karma, but it hasn't been seen in a while. And I think this is a really smart response to the buffs that items like Ardent Sensor and Forbidden Idol receive. Sort of an inevitability given the way the patches have been going. And Rageblade Nat Bunch done for Fury, so that is
Mickey harassing Pure a bit.
That is a massive power spike on the Kog'Maw.
Snowflower drops the ultimate. Pure though just uses great health, gets the shield from Frozen and walks away. So that's a Solar Flare now down on the side of Afrika Freaks. Fury a little bit on his own though. Mickey's gonna go in for some damage. Fury flashes, eaten up by Pure right away. There's a teleport coming in for Expression, and now Frozen coming from behind, I believe as well. No, Frozen going in the bottom. They've got Afrika a little bit separated here. Fury in trouble, getting jumped on. All those shields though keeping him alive. Pure saving him yet again, and they get the kill onto Mickey. Songyun low, there he goes, double kill for this Karma. Fury picks up another one via Pure. We'll give that credit to Fury for all the damage. Kill comes in, and that's going to be an ace, a clean ace. Triple kill for Fury, and yep, Juggernaut is definitely online.
Yes, it is. It is 100% online, Doa. And Afrika, that was their last bid in this game. They knew they had to make it work. They see that the Kog'Maw's only getting stronger and stronger the longer this game goes on. And if there's anybody that should be familiar with this Kog'Maw build and where it's most powerful, it is going to be Songyun and the Afrika Freaks. They try and make it work, but that's probably just about ended this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't kill the Kog'Maw will absolutely kill your entire team, and that's what we just saw happen. And most of Afrika back up again. Can they defend their inhibitor, though?
Yeah, the worst of it isn't even done yet, Doa, because right now, at least they have some opportunities to stop the Kog'Maw, because he's not going to be able to heal up. But once the Blade of the Ruined King comes through, now they tried. This is such a good idea from Mickey. I mean, you got to try this at this point.
Sure, it was a good opportunity.
Good opportunity. You're falling behind. You know if you don't do anything, you're just going to lose. So Afrika makes that choice, and they come in again. They try and isolate Fury. Pure with a great flash over. He's going to just eat him up, walk backwards, especially there with the Frozen Mallet, making it impossible for Songyun and Snowflower to catch up to Fury. And there's the Abyssal Voyage. He comes through to cut off any chance of escape, help out Crash, takes the triple kill, and straight into the Baron.
Man, where was this Longzhu for most of the season? Because this is like the Longzhu team that we kind of thought we'd see, you know, for a while.
Crash and Frozen weren't playing.
I suppose.
Frozen wasn't even on the team for half this season.
I feel like this is a Longzhu team we should have seen last season, you know?
Well, maybe they finally figured out this roster. Also, Fury was banned for a lot last season, too. And then after he was unbanned, he had pretty poor performances on anything that wasn't Jhin. So it took him a while to get back into the form we knew him from when he played with Samsung last year.
Seems right. Well, this LeBlanc is not working out at all for Afrika Freaks. Siege continuing. We're able to get a little bit of damage onto that turret. that Baron buff, though, and the Mountain Drake. I'll be able to take this down very quickly. There it goes. And yeah, there's no way that Afrika Freaks is stopping that composition. Longzhu, we'll see how long they want to hang out in the base. Maybe if they can get a pick or something like that, they can end this game. Waves coming in, though, in the mid lane. There goes the top lane inhibitor now. Somebody's having a great time. Not quite sure who. Probably not anybody on Africa, though. Nexus turret number 1 getting low. Expression takes a lot of damage from Mickey, actually. He needs to be careful here. Well, not so careful. He does have the GA, I suppose. Longzhu wants this one to end right here, but Afrika Freaks going in. Solar Flare, though. Oh, what a anti-synergy with the Gragas ultimate, too. That was bad for the Afrika Freaks. And now Longzhu just turning it around. Fury raining damage down from above. You might as well say justice reigns from above. As Longzhu is ready to close this one out, and it's a pretty quick game. Juggernaut came online fast, and there was nothing Longzhu could do. That is it. GG.
That was really well played by Longzhu.
Afrika could do, rather.
Yeah. Afrika, I do think that they underestimated what they could do with this draft. I think that the Trundle, his inability to make flank plays is kind of a big problem when you want to shut down the Juggernaut, but got to credit to Longzhu. They played that very well, were convincingly winning their lanes, and even though Afrika decided to swap it up and do some damage control, it didn't really do anything to stop the scaling, right? Yeah, they got some more farm, but it wasn't actively hurting the scaling of Longzhu, and they hit that 3-item Kog'Maw power spike, and then in combination with the Karma just absolutely wrecked the team fights against Afrika. Credit to Pure, though. Pure was really good at the top catch in that game.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was ready to eat anybody up that needed eating. And I gotta say, like, as a former, I wouldn't say Leona main, but someone who's played a ton of Leona, seeing that Solar Flare started and then seeing the Gragas ultimate knock everybody out of it was like it was one of the saddest things someone who's played a lot of Leona could possibly see. A tear rolled down my cheek just then. I feel for you, Snowflower, man.
I do think that Afrika did the right thing at that engage in the end, because the longer that game goes on, well, then Kog'Maw gets Blade of the Ruined King, and then the damage that Mickey does to him to try and poke him out of the back of a fight doesn't mean anything, because it'll get healed up immediately. Wow, Expression actually did the most damage on the side of Longzhu. And then the other factor is that guess what comes after the Blade? It's going to be a QSS, and then all your engage just goes down the toilet. So Afrika, I think, did make the right attempt to find a pick, get the Baron, and then attempt to turn that game around. Unfortunately, Pure and Fury played it really well, managed to kite it out, and then they took the ace. So Afrika, I think they'll just adjust their draft in the next game, maybe go ahead and take out that Kog'Maw, but now 3 different teams, Afrika, KT, and Longzhu, really emphasizing that Kog'Maw pick, and it has been working really, really well.
Yeah, a huge win for Longzhu too. Again, you know, we've said that this is really the match they need to win if they want to have the best chance to avoid relegations here.
And I think you have to take that Kog'Maw super seriously, because it can come online before 30 minutes, and not only that, Kog'Maw's now 4-0 with this build.
It's pretty big. Something to think about as we go into the break. Longzhu versus Afrika Freaks Game 2 coming up in just a few minutes here on LCK on OGN. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'll make it out alive. If I quit calling you my lover, move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses,
Bleed in sync with the fast track. All eyes are searching to the black. Get back and get back a little more.
Welcome back to LCK Summer. Fury gets the MVP for game number 1. Some pretty sick Kog'Maw play, but you and I, we thought somebody else deserved the MVP.
Well,
didn't
Fury
we?
did a good job. I think it was a toss-up between Pure and Fury.
He did, but I voted for Pure. You voted for Pure.
But I'm not bitter about Fury getting it, though. I thought he played excellently.
I'm a little bit bitter, but only because I have an insane support bias.
Yeah, look at this, too. I mean, just great kiting here from Fury. Pure really saving his Devour for the perfect time. And Expression also, I think, deserves consideration in this game because his peeling right there for his backline was quite good, especially in mini-Gnar form, just making sure he was proccing the Frozen Mallet across multiple members and allowing them to kite just a little bit better.
Oh, it hurts.
No.
It hurts so bad. Oh, the Leona Gragas anti-synergy.
Yeah, most teams at this caliber of play will pretty easily avoid doing that, but
Oh yeah.
and honestly, though, it didn't matter. Like the game was
No.
pretty much lost there
It
anyway.
did, but it just hurts me.
It
Hurts me deep down. My bloodthirsty support heart. See that great ultimate gone to waste.
Fury coming through with that game, impressive play, and Longshoot just crisp, really crisp.
So it's good to see you too. I mean, it maybe is a little bit late this season, obviously, but you know, at least if they get a win here today, they've got a good chance of avoiding relegations, or at least they put themselves in the position to avoid it. And even if they do lose today, they're still playing well enough that you'd think they wouldn't be too concerned about getting knocked out of the tournament.
No, I think Longzhu definitely has turned their season around. Even when they play against teams like KT and Rocks, they did lose 0-2 to both of these teams, but some of the games were quite close. So Longzhu certainly showing improvement. It may have taken 7 months for them to figure it out, but at least they've got something that's working better for them now.
Unfortunately, they won't be playing again until 2017, so it's
they got more time.
Who knows what'll happen between then and now. Welcome to Picks and Bans for game number 2. GP banned out first. So how do you handle that? How do you handle pick and ban now as Afrika Freaks? Do you just ban out the Kog'Maw? Do you ban out the Karma?
Either option is going to be okay. Afrika, now that they're on the blue side, does have perhaps the opportunity to first pick the Karma. Mickey has played that this season, and it would make sense. And in that way, Longzhu would not be able to run Juggernaut. Now, it wouldn't stop them from running Kog'Maw, but at least they wouldn't have the same level of annoyance.
Similar bans so far to game number 1. Same bans on the Afrika side, just a little bit different ordering on the Longzhu side of things. What's it going to be? Is it going to be the Jhin ban again that we saw in game number 1? Could set them up for Kog'Maw first pick, but then that wouldn't really work out because Afrika, or Longzhu rather, could just take away Karma.
Interesting. They're going to ban the Gnar.
Yeah.
They don't want to pick the Gnar because they will know the Yasuo is coming. Expression did lose to KT with that pickup, but KT played just a beautiful game around denying the Yasuo in the Gnar matchup.
All right, so Hecarim banned out, same 3 bans from Longzhu as we saw in game 1.
Yeah, same exact bans, except for the Jhin for the Gnar. So that does open up Fury's arguably best champion.
What do you first pick here? I feel like it's a legitimately tough choice. You go with the Nidalee? You go with the Gragas?
Lyra and Africa have really not been putting a premium on Italy recently.
That's true.
So I don't think they're going to first pick a jungler. I think they are more likely to think about taking the Karma away. Because otherwise, Longzhu can just do exactly what they did last game, and Africa's response was pretty poor.
Yeah. They're going to take the Kog'Maw now. Oh, if they take the Kog'Maw, then you'd imagine Longzhu will nearly immediately take the Karma.
Or we see Africa also trying to run some sort of Juggernaut. Wow, I am really surprised that they are going to first pick the Gragas, considering that Crash is going to be perfectly happy going for the Nidalee again.
So what if you go Nidalee Karma here? Because Karma's still you
Why not?
can still take the Sivir later, and if they don't take the Kog'Maw, you can take the Kog'Maw.
Yep, there are other opportunities for you, for sure. And they don't even have to take the Nidalee here because, well, actually they do, because Africa, again, with them, Gragas is always a flex pick, right? Ixu has been the player to play top Gragas the most this year.
True. That is true. So Kog'Maw Karma could be the pickup here. Kog'Maw Nidalee.
Anyway,
well.
yeah, there is a threat that Lyra takes Nidalee. Maybe they take Gragas Nidalee and then try and put Crash on something else.
Kind of like the Nidalee Karma a little bit more. I feel like it's more flexible, but we'll see. Okay, they're just going to go with the combo again. All right.
All right. I guess they're not worried about giving over the Nidalee to Lyra and having Ixu run the Gragas in the top lane. So instead, they are going to just go for the Juggernaut, and they've showed their hand.
Well, I mean, like we mentioned, I don't think that's a really huge danger because it just looked like last game the Afrika Freaks had really no idea how to play around it, you know? They really struggled.
Yeah, they did, and these are powerful lanes too, and I think that's what's the scariest part about the Juggernaut, is that you have great scaling, fantastic scaling into the late game. That's what was scary about it with Lulu too, but Kog'Maw does really well in lane because of his range on his W, so it becomes hard to punish him. And if you're, just like we saw last game where Longzhu was having a dominant laning phase, basically in their side lanes, and then so forcing out the gold, like trying to get that early game advantage, and then Africa had to have a power spike and had to hit them in the mid game, but they were behind. And then Longzhu just outscaled them too, so it's tough to deal with this kind of composition.
You know, I was going to say, you probably want to take the Tahm Kench away because that was another very crucial part of the composition last game.
And they are going to do what I thought they were going to do, which is go ahead and take the Nidalee. Now, Ixu, he's only played top Gragas once this season, but if we think back to spring, that was a pretty core pickup for Africa, and the ability to flex the Gragas was one of their strongest attributes in the draft.
Yep. So it's going to be Rek'Sai Echo this time. Special's played a ton of Echo this season. And although the Rek'Sai did get a little bit of a nerf to the Tremor Sense in 6.14, still a strong pick.
Yeah, still very strong. Echo here blind picked in the top lane. Well, actually, it's going to be the Gragas, so knows what it's going to be. And then he also is a good champion for playing around the disengage required for Longzhu. You have the ability to set up those parallel convergences and help peel for your back line.
And this would be quite the poke comp for Africa if they lock this in, which I would be pretty surprised if they don't. It looks very strong.
Yeah, it's also quite good for pick, which is deceptive, right? Because you have the Jhin root, you have the Chain of Corruption, and you have the Gragas ultimate to isolate targets. So it's a bit of a combination of a pick and a poke comp here. And that is what they are going to take.
Yeah, that's good. Jhin Varus locked in. So one last pick going over to Longzhu. The Taric would be good at keeping the Kog'Maw fairly safe. What do you think about a Thresh here, too, maybe?
I would rather see the Taric just because he's going to scale better into the late game. And, of course, the invulnerability he's going to give your composition against the poke and the engage that Africa has is going to be quite good. So, again, struggles a bit in the laning phase, but it should be comparable between Kog'Maw and Jhin, especially when we have two melee supports, one on each of the teams, the Tahm Kench and the Taric. So I don't think they're actually going to be able to punish the Taric in the early phases of the game.
Thinking about it.
Nami would be another choice here.
Trundle is also available, I suppose.
Yeah, you don't really need the Trundle, though.
Yeah, I think the Taric's fine. They're going to lock that in. Taric. Okay, so Longzhu going again with the Juggernaut composition, a little bit different than what we saw last time. see if they can make it work without the Tom Kench. Pure played very, very well in that last game, and in some of those fights, I think, was the difference between Longzhu winning and losing.
Yeah, and this is another scary composition for Longzhu. They obviously, in their draft, had good plans, I feel, to run the same comp again with a minor variation. They're going to get the Echo, I think, is best as a top laner when he can group up as 5 and provide peel as opposed to necessarily relying on engage, but considering that's what they want to do is kite, perfect. And then, yeah, you don't get the Tom Kench to help save the AD carry, but Tarek with absolute invulnerability in the late game, and the peel of the double dazzle is strong in his own right. So
yeah,
they have some other picks they're comfortable with here that can help flesh out the Juggernaut roster and really have the same roles that the Gnar and the Tom Kench did in the last game. And I think that's cool that they had the flexibility in their champion pools to really go with this, even though, of course, we did see the the Tom Kench taken away.
You know, as long as Fury's positioning is good in these fights, he shouldn't really be in all that much danger because it's mostly going to be poke damage coming in, right? They've got heals to deal with that. They've got shields to deal with that. So unless he gets hit by a pretty unfortunate explosive cast from Ixu.
Or Chain of Corruption, that's another danger.
Oh, it's a positioning thing, right? Yeah. So let's get into the game. See if Longzhu can take it, get the 2-0, or if Africa will tie up this series. It's go time. Alright, welcome to Summoner's Rift yet again. Longzhu Gaming versus Africa Freaks. And Song Yoon and Snowflower have to make a run for it here, popping that dazzle, lands it on the Snowflower. That's going to be some damage onto the Tom Kench. And he gets exhausted too. Might have to flash, he does. One summoner down already. Pure actually used his flash as well though, so.
He used his exhaust.
Oh yeah, you're right, he used his exhaust, yeah. That's what I look like when I'm watching Janair. That's a yawn.
Well, I do like Africa's adjustments too. Remember how we talked about in the last game that the teleport Trundle flank is not too scary when it comes in, just because, okay, so a home guarding Trundle into your backline, he just like throws down a pillar and then does what exactly? Not a whole lot. But Ixu on the Gragas, one of his famous pocket picks in the top lane, if he gets a good flank off with the home guard, he's just going to be able to zip right into the back and throw a devastating explosive cast that is going to send your entire team into Africa.
Right.
So much more counterplay, I think, from Africa's composition in this game as opposed to the last one.
Certainly a lot to be worried about. Longzhu, they were able to make it work in game number 1. We'll see if they're able to make it work in game number 2.
Yeah,
I would imagine they probably won't, because it seems like we always have 3 game sets on Fridays.
Is that right?
First best of 3 on a Friday, nearly always 3 games for us.
I do like Africa, that they have a stronger lane too that's going to be able to match this Kog'Maw to a certain degree, and I think Song Yoon should be confident in what can deal with it, considering he was the one who introduced this pick to the league.
And standard lanes for our 2nd game in a row. Although last game, I suppose it did change into the lane swap.
Yeah.
Shortly in.
It was smart. It was smart of Africa to do that, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough.
And we'll see how Lyra can do on that Nidalee as well.
That was some nice damage from Frozen.
And certainly doing work on that Karma. Last game too.
Yeah, did struggle a little bit, I think, too much in farming in the early game, falling behind Mickey, but did his job. It wasn't his job to get super fed and carry the game. It was on Fury, and Fury performed admirably in that capacity.
Ixu getting bullied pretty hard so far by Expression. And I admit, I don't know a whole lot about the Gragas Echo top lane matchup.
I don't think it's going to be very... Uh-oh.
Dazzle onto Song Yoon. Really close to having to burn a summoner there.
Yeah, Snowflower did use his exhaust, so that'll basically even up the bot lane, but Piers will be back up soon. So Fury and Pure are really starting to take a hold of the bottom lane, and Frozen doing much better in the Varus matchup. At least in the early, very early stage of this game.
Okay, well, Lyra could come in for a pretty good gank here on Expansion. He is way far up in lane.
Yeah, but barrel roll not up, so they can't get the slow.
Suppose.
Just for a few more seconds. They're being patient.
Right, trading going on. Frozen coming out on the better end of that one as well. Mickey taking a lot of damage. Ooh, talk about knowing your limits. Mickey has to burn one summoner to stay alive. Meanwhile, Crash preventing the all-in up in top lane.
And Crash probably should not have gone straight to the Krugs right there, considering how far Expression was pushed forward, and at least done a check of the lane instead to make sure that his top laner is going to be covered. Still, they get out, only burning the flash.
Lyra, oh, actually lands a spear on the Frozen.
Frozen.
It's dangerous.
He didn't exactly pay attention to that, but
Not really, no.
he walked into it. But doesn't really matter. Has the shield and the speed boost to escape.
Close call. He picks up his tier. Starts stacking that now. And things pretty even across the board so far in game number 2.
Indeed. Just waiting though, and that how long is you going to be happy to wait? It's up to Africa really to make the moves in the mid game here. They do have a very strong siege composition, especially with the ability to knock people off the turrets with the Gragas. So if they start to group up with an Italy, Varus, and Jin, they will be able to use the Curtain Call and the Piercing Arrows to remove the members of Longju. Because remember, Longju, they don't have great engage here, so it's basically poke wars.
Here, pretty successfully poking in this bot lane.
Infernal Drake up first here too, so
Yeah.
very important to see who's going to get the better end of the deal in the bot lane.
It's great for both teams too, because I mean, poke really benefits a lot from that Infernal Drake. Just straight up more
huge.
damage, you know?
It's actually really important to right though, so who gets that.
And just more brawling up in the top lane. That's how it is. Oop, jungle versus jungle. Crash. Takes Lyra away though. But he eats a spear. Doesn't really eat it, don't worry. We just mean he got hit by it. In case anyone's worried.
Yeah, Lyra just nips into the jungle for a moment to take a camp, gets the Wolf Spirit down, so they've got some eyes on Crash now around the bottom side. Just a recurve bow for Fury. Much earlier recalls in this game compared to last. Now we wait.
Now we wait. Yes. In anticipation, as Crash lurks about in the river brush.
It's going to be a waiting game. Both these teams happy to scale. Probably Africa will be wanting to set up some, group up in the mid lane first and really use their poke before the Juggernaut can fully come online and then win in some of these damage trades. I think this is a lot of what we're likely to see on 6:15. Uh-oh.
Ooh, yeah, Mickey though, a little
Whoa,
bit of trouble
Crash.
taking some damage. Crash gets hit with those
Crash
chains of
dealing
corruption.
a lot of damage.
Yeah, he is.
Forced the ghost out too from Mickey, and just with that Tiamat really destroying Mickey's health bar on the blue transfer. Clever because he knew Lyra wasn't going to be able to respond immediately.
That is mean. That's interesting though. I think you'll need to be careful in this mid lane. So far, no kills on either side. Like you said, 6:15, with the way the turrets are kind of changing, seems to suggest that we'll see a lot of poking style compositions. And maybe, I mean, I've had nightmares about this, but we might see the return of Ziggs.
Oh god.
Ugh.
Also, it'll look like this, except probably with range supports as opposed to
Right.
melee supports.
Caitlyn Nami
Yeah, Caitlyn Navi. It's been, of course,
back again.
brought up many times as a likely possibility.
Mondu comes out of retirement. He's like, it's my time. I'm back again.
So it'll be the Samsung meta where Wraith can once again dominate on the Nami.
Yep. Oh boy. Here's setting up the blue buff, or actually stealing away the blue buff.
Giving Mickey a little bit of an edge there, but not the most critical thing for Frozen.
Yep.
Chris got the blue buff, but it did come at the price of getting chunked out there. So this is it's gonna be a slow burner, Doa.
I guess so.
Africa last game, at least, with their composition, their need to make picks, their all-in nature of their engage, they had more reasons to fight in the early game, but not so anymore. They've taken a very different approach versus Longju. Going to fight them poke versus poke.
Yeah, I think we can see one of two things going forward here in the next 5 minutes. You know, somebody gets out of position and gets caught. That's going to lead to an Infernal Drake taken by one team. Or we're just going to straight up see both teams fight at the Infernal Drake, I suppose.
Possibility. They're showing us a ward right now, which could be teleported on.
Yeah.
But it won't be Doa.
But it could be.
They do have 2 TPs, but nobody wanting to make the bold attempt.
Uh-oh, Frozen damages Mickey. The spear misses though, so here comes Tom Kench. Snowflower trying to get in on there too. They do get the flash out of Frozen.
Yeah, it's a good way to push him back, but Mickey actually used the Chain of Corruption too early right there, so there wasn't enough follow-up on it from Lyra. Lyra not in position to land the spear during the chain, so more or less Frozen just gets out scot-free.
Crash though coming in, especially low health already. They're going to go in onto Ixu now. Ixu taking a lot of damage. First blood goes over to Crash.
Frozen's here.
He TP'd in for moral support. He's like, way to go.
He's there for the high fives after the fact, though.
That's right, but everybody's running away. Nobody wants to give him one.
Yeah, Rek'Sai was also underground. She was hiding her hands, so.
It'd be very low 5.
Yeah, denied, really.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Wow, Expression wasn't paying attention.
That was awkward. Well, Lyra gets an answering kill, I guess.
Expression not paying attention right there. If he had dodged that spear, he probably would have been able to get out. Lyra did have flash, though, so maybe not. Expression does go down. Unsafe TP. Should have gone back to his turret instead.
Well, I've always said it. I feel like Korean players are kind of the kings of unsafe teleports, and if you play on the Korean server, you see it all the time, too.
Cutting corners on the recalls, not
Yep.
the best idea in the world, and now Expression's going to be punished for it. In fact, he's going to let the wave melt into his turret, not use his TP, and Lyra's going to get some nice counter jungling time in.
Oh, joy. Slight little CS leads for the Afrika Freaks. Longju still keeping up, though, of course.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about the
Not much.
about the slight CS leads. We are still even when it comes to gold. And Longju will be presenting such a scary composition in the late game.
It'll be just a lot of poking and then kind of one apocalyptic fight.
Songyu's going to go for Essence Reaver.
Wow, Afrika Freaks going for this Infernal Drake, and they're going to get it too.
Yeah,
And,
wow, there's
that
not
is
even
big.
Yeah, good sneak there from Africa.
Yeah, no resistance at all.
Yeah, pushed up the lanes, and just a little bit of a delay there from Longju as they had 3 people inside their own bottom jungle. Wards were there to give Africa the information they needed, so they sort of sneak in and grab it, which is absolutely massive for them. Oh, Crab going to be actually taken there by Crash. It was eaten up and brought down into the bottom lane. Does go over to Longju, not that it's going to do them a whole lot of good. So Africa really going to be powering up in the mid game now.
All right, Snowflower gets stunned though after delivering his AD carry to safety. We'll buff over to Mickey again, of course. And I feel like it's kind of a question too of how much pressure can the bot lanes put on the opposing bot lane's turret right now, you know? Who gets to slowly chip down their opponent's turret?
Yeah, it's especially important for Africa that they actually take it first so they can start grouping in mid and snowball turret into turret into turret.
Yeah. Well, they've got the Infernal Drake. Not going to give them a massive benefit right now, but it will come in handy later. Dazzle coming in again. Snowflower caught. Always ready. Carry Jin around in his mouth. Like a loving, I don't know. I saw like a fish once on the nature channel, some nature channel, where it just like sucked all the babies into its mouth if they were in danger.
Sounds like a very safe place to be.
Well, if you don't swallow, I guess. Okay.
Pretty sure they don't swallow, though.
Yeah. That'd be bad.
That would have led to the extinction of that species long ago.
Yeah, you want to avoid that.
The ones with the swallowing gene don't get very far in the reproductive cycle, Doa.
It's very true. You know, I kind of feel like on the inside, Tahm Kench is kind of like the Sarlacc from Star Wars, right? Because clearly, with his mouth that large, he doesn't have a very big digestive system, which makes me think that his digestive system is part of the inside of his mouth. So he just carries people in like a cavity inside his body that his mouth leads to, and that just slowly digests him over 1,000 years.
I think it's the most logical theory about Tahm Kench I've ever heard, Doa.
I think it's very reasonable. Dazzle. It's a new definition of pain and suffering. Which is coincidentally Donald Trump's campaign slogan. Can't believe it. What a coincidence.
Vote Sarlacc 2016.
That's right. Oh, Crash avoids the ultimate from Mickey with the flash.
Nice dodging.
Yeah, no kidding.
Weaving away right there, getting out of the line skill shots.
All right, Song Yoon with the curtain call.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to be blocking the damage.
it's not as effective early without the flat armor penetration. I'm surprised that Song Yoon wants to go for the Essence Reaver here. It seems to me that they should be trying to strike in the early game. And Longju, they're just not going to have much armor for quite a long time in this game. Expression may get the Iceborne Gauntlet, but he's probably not going to be there when a lot of the poke is actually occurring.
Yeah. They were able to steal away from. Now there's an Ocean Drake coming up next. I mean, really, any of the 4 Drakes, you can see a pretty distinct advantage that they'll give you with this kind of comp, you know? This is one of the comps where, like, every single dragon is actually very important in this game.
Yeah, I agree. It's not really a throwaway here. And it's kind of true whenever you have 2 compositions that are sort of intended to do the same thing. Now, we had 2 compositions that were all inning each other all the time. Okay, maybe the Ocean Drake doesn't actually matter that much, or the Cloud Drake, but when it's a very delicate dance back and forth, intermittent damage like we see with 2 poke compositions, yeah, Cloud and Ocean actually do matter quite a bit.
Again, coming in on Ix in the top lane, Expression flashes. Explosive Cask used. They're going to go under the turret. There's a knockup from the Unburrow. Ixu's still alive. Crash taking a lot of turret hits. Going back in for the body slam. That might... Oh, wow. Crash gets out just in time. It was a long dive, but Longju gets the kill.
Yeah, and because Ixu actually went for the magic resist first here, he does have the Glacial Shroud, however. Still a lot of physical damage coming through from the Tiamat and the Echo with the Sheen, so...
Ooh.
Looks like Lyra's going to start to make some headway onto this bottom tier 1, and this would be a huge pickup for them because it would allow them to transition into the mid lane with the Jhin.
Fury and Pure delaying their recall to save that turret now.
Not going to work. Fury and Pure too high in terms of HP to actually push them off.
Yep. And 35 seconds now until that Ocean Drake comes up. So we've got that to look forward to.
Oh boy, more poking, Doa.
Hooray!
Interesting.
Yeah?
Mickey finishing the Vanamune first. So usually we see Tyr and then like Hex Drinker and maybe a Mob Malmortius first against an AP mid laner, but very confident. He's been doing just fine.
Oh,
with CS.
Collapsing onto Mickey and Lyra. Here comes the teleport coming in. Kill already going over to Lyra. He's going to harass Tahm Kench as well on the way out. Snowflower uses Abyssal Voyage to come up and help out.
Well, he didn't really do anything. In fact, he didn't even get an assist. It's kind of been the game of unnecessary globals. Saw it from Frozen earlier.
People just wanting to be there, you know?
Just take a picture.
Yep, that's right. Take a selfie. Selfie with Frozen's body. It's like, I was there. Fun stuff. And Ocean Drake going over to Africa, so they've been able to take both Drakes now this game. And it feels like slowly but surely the Africa Freaks are taking a lead in this game.
That's a good sign for Africa, actually, because their dragon control has been worst in the entire league. And it's been a major factor in a lot of their losses, is the fact that they just can't control, seemingly, the Drake, and they usually fall behind. And they certainly fell behind heavily in game number 1 of this series, but this time around they've been smarter about when they're going after the Drake, taking it early, playing around Longzhu's recalls to pick up that objective.
Yeah. Special finishes his Trinity Force. That's a nice pickup.
Yeah, and we've seen more and more Echoes recently. This week we've seen a bit of a shift from the Echo into the Trinity Force build. And we get that again here. Seen some differentiation past the Trinity Force. Sometimes players preferring to build more tanky with something like a Randuin's Omen to cut down the attack speed. Other times, you know, going for more, of course, tankiness too, but more assassination potential with the Deadman's Plate.
Right.
Ability to really smack somebody around at the back line. Probably Randuin's here is going to be better against Mickey and Songyun collectively. But now the turret's down, and as expected, Africa immediately starting to group up in the mid lane and try and get objective after objective right here, and it's making it awkward for Fury as to which lane he needs to be assigned to right now.
Well, the thing is, too, is when you have two compositions that are similar like this, it can snowball very quickly for one of the sides. I feel like we're kind of already seeing that from the Africa Freaks.
It just depends on how long it takes to whittle down these turrets, because I think Longzhu, this Juggernaut, it's always been a hugely powerful late game composition, and I do believe they are going to eventually outscale.
Well, they got to get there first.
Well, they do, but you know, we're 21 minutes into this game, and Africa's only taken down one turret.
That's true.
Peak of their powers is coming up. So the stall has been good. Longzhu has gotten 2 items onto the Kog'Maw, and they've only lost a turret for it. And 2 Drakes. It's also important to remember, especially the Infernal Drake.
I'm with Karma. What? I don't even know what she's saying.
Just spams things all the time.
That's right.
Got to shout around about what you're doing in lane.
I think she's like one of those scat singers from like the 1920s or 30s. It's like bop bop bop.
I love those guys. Big band is awesome. Cab Calloway #1.
Yeah. You like the Zoot Suits?
Actually, you know, I'm not so much of a fan of the Zoot Suits.
No.
Nah, they're not really my style. Like
I
a
don't
little bit
think
too baggy.
Yeah, I don't think you'd do well in a Zoot suit.
I would look terrible in a Zoot Suit,
Yeah. And I'm not even a fashion expert. Well, Fury gets cut out a little bit. Here, blocking that damage, though. He's going to walk away. Here comes Lyra, though, from the top. Teleport coming in from the Africa Freaks as well. They want to keep pushing this. Rosen coming down. And Longzhu could be in a bit of trouble as they retreat. And from behind come Ixu and Snowflower, trying to make a big play here. Teleport coming down for Longzhu as well. Snowflower and Lyra, though, taking a ton of damage.
Fury.
And Longzhu is going to turn this one around. And Fury doing the damage that we saw him do in game #1. They are not done yet. Expression maybe sticking around a bit too long. Ult's back to stay alive, though. And in the end, Longzhu, the ones getting kills. Ooh, that was very close.
A piercing arrow coming in from Mickey, nearly taking out Expression, who is zoning and preventing follow-up from Africa right there. But man, what a clutch Taric ultimate to get them out of that situation.
Yeah.
It looked grim, but the Taric ult bought time. And that's what it did most importantly. So great flank here from Africa. But look, everybody gets into Taric ult, and they are able to just get the invulnerability down and try and turn this one around. Fury starts just wrecking people with the damage. Dazzle also, as you say, providing the peel. And then Expression finally gets there, and they start to turn this one around. They pick up the 2 quick kills. Expression goes in once again onto Mickey. Barely escapes with his life. But, whew, Pure once again doing the work.
Yeah. Now, during that, because of the low health, Longzhu had to go back, and Africa was able to take the mid lane turrets, so they did get something out of it. And in the grand scheme of things, that may end up mattering more than the kills that that Longzhu got.
Yeah, it may, especially when it comes to follow-up Drakes, considering they have mid and bottom turret down, and Longzhu's still looking for turret number 1. But they may have found a little bit of time here to work on it.
You know, another thing is that Fury didn't get a single one of those kills either.
That is troublesome.
Yep, Curtain Call just pushing Longzhu off of that turret.
Yeah, unfortunately, Crash, 3 of the 4 kills, that's not where you want them onto your wreck side.
So much. They want to try to take out the spot lane tier 1. Yeah, they can't quite do it though.
Yep, their poke is starting to come through though. Longzhu eking closer to the magical 3-item Kog'Maw.
Yep. Battle over the red buff. Crash will win it though.
Yeah, Crash there to cover Expression in the mid lane, pushing that up, so they're maximizing their pressure on the bottom side of the map right now. See if they can take this turret, and yeah, Lyra is going to abandon the bottom side, and they are going to grab it and actually take a gold lead here. They will give the solo turret gold over to Fury, trying to accelerate him as best they can.
All right, here we go. Africa Freaks come in from behind. They want to collapse onto Expression if they can.
Expression still has ult though. He's going to run away and then snap back.
Yep, that's the idea. Meanwhile, Longzhu takes the tier 1 in mid lane without any real opposition. Crash goes in for the flash on Burrow. Where's the follow-up though? I feel like he might have gone a little bit too far.
Yeah, actually, I think Pure, he got out of range of the Bastion, so they couldn't dazzle off of the Rek'Sai. It's a little bit of a mistake. But here comes Fury with his Mountain Drake.
Getting that Mountain Drake is so big for Longzhu as well. They really could use this when they start to siege even more, and suddenly Longzhu looking a lot better here in this game. Uh-oh. If you're the Africa Freaks, you need to be a little bit worried at this point. And they're going to go for a Baron. Wow, that is an aggressive Baron. Expression's going to spot it with the ward.
They can do it quickly, though. That was a lot of recalls. Karma at the bottom side. Here comes the TP.
Yep, that's right. Expression goes in for the Sun and Lyra. He does get it. Baron does go over the Africa Freaks, though. And can Longzhu possibly punish them?
No.
Doesn't look like they can.
No, they can't. And because of that fight, it's like Longzhu gets a few recalls in, and then they're a little bit late on using the TP on Frozen. Frozen was in the bottom side. He was the one with the TP up. So Africa sneaks in and takes a quick Baron.
Yeah.
Right under Longzhu's nose.
They have to push the lanes back, and right now everything's pretty much going Longzhu's way. As far as the pressure on the lanes.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll notice Longzhu immediately spread out over the map, tried to push all 3 lanes at the same time. We're 3 turrets to 3 turrets right now. They can go a little bit further past the river, past the ruins of the first tower, and waste a lot of Africa's time trying to set up for this siege. But once they get there, it's going to be scary. Africa right in their prime right now with this poke composition.
So the theme for the next few minutes for Longzhu is survive.
That's right, just buy time. Doesn't really matter that they lost the Baron as long as they don't lose 3 turrets off of it too.
Freaks still with a little bit of gold lead.
Yeah, Fury's still just waiting on that expensive recipe for the Rage Blade. It's really important that he gets that as soon as he possibly can.
All right, Baron buff minions moving into the mid lane. Crash, though, is there to clear the wave out pretty easily. More epic top lane dueling.
And the nice thing about having the Rek'Sai with the TMI has always been that you can at least clear waves, and if your team gets in trouble, you have a global with your ultimate to get back there quickly, so it limits your risk of splitting out and farming multiple lanes at the same time.
It's true. A lot of Crash's tunnels down, though. Curtain Call trying to push Longzhu off of the turret. No minion wave, though, and that's not doing a whole lot.
It's so hard for the Curtain Call to do anything against this Karma.
Yeah. Oh, Explosive Cast was used.
Not the best use of it.
Not really. Didn't end up getting any benefit for the Afrika Peaks.
Yeah, no damage and also didn't actually stop the defense. If you're going to use the explosive cast like that, you want to do it when the minion wave actually hits the turret so that your carries can auto-attack it.
Right.
Instead, it's just kind of thrown out there.
All right, we're going in. Mickey taking a lot of damage already. Ixu on the side, zones out Expression. Crash, Fury having to back away. Fury a little bit late to the party there. Going to clear the wave now. Ooh, Fury needs to be very careful on the end of this fight.
Africa not really getting chunked out right now. There is some vulnerability to a dive at the moment now that the Terra Cult is down. But without the explosive cast, dive probably out of the question. But now they took a red buff, but that's it. So far in this Baron buff, they've gotten a red. That has been the sum total of Africa's gains. They will finally get a turret.
Yep, that's right. And going in now on the Crash. Fury doing damage from the outside of the fight. He's untouched so far. And it looks like the Afrika Freaks are going to be content to back away. Probably not a bad idea.
Still, there's no immediate way for them to transition into. The top is pushing out, the bottom is pushing out. So if Africa, if all they get off of this Baron is a red buff and one turret, it's going to be a major, major win for Longzhu.
That's right. Man, and you got to wonder what would have happened in that last team fight since Fury wasn't really there at the beginning of it, if he would have been able to do the damage that they needed him to do.
I think it was just a stalling maneuver, right? They're just pushing him off the turret so that they can't join up and just push it down. It's not really a team fight, I think, that Longzhu wanted to take, just a temporary reprieve from the siege, and they've made it work. So looks like we are looking at potentially a problem with Fury's computer, perhaps?
Could be. It's red hot in the booth. But, yeah, Longzhu, I mean, coming into this one, I would say as the underdogs.
Yeah.
But now looking like they might be able to get the 2-0.
Well, it's hard to say how good Longzhu is because in their most recent games, yeah, they've lost the expected matches to Rox and KT, but they've been pretty dominant against the teams in the bottom half of the league. So their rightful place in a power ranking right now in this league may in fact be more in the 6 to 7 range as opposed to the 8th place that they currently see themselves sitting at. But they've got a chance to, or 9th place rather, they've got a chance to get up to 8th place today.
Yep. And all right, we are unpaused for the moment, so we'll see if we can get back in. We are. Okay, great. Back in the game. And so, more of the same. Longzhu pushing out their lanes, keeping the pressure onto the Afrika Freaks side of the map. They may be behind in gold, but they are looking scarier and scarier in the late game.
Yeah, the same three-headed build from Frozen. Athene's into Deathcap into Ardent Sensor. Kinsu's Rageblade is done. So this is where the power is going to start to shift over to Longzhu's favor. Wow, Talisman of Ascension done. So Snowflower is basically a mini Karma right now.
Trying to help people zoom around the map.
Mostly just dodging those skill shots. Of course, Expression has opted for the Dead Man's Plate. So looking to chunk out some of the less than mobile AD carries, and Varus and Jim, if we can get into that back line.
1 minute now until the next Drake comes up, and that is a Mountain Drake, as you can see on your screen there.
I'm surprised by the lack of armor penetration on this Jin. I think that it would have been better to go for the more early game focused Jin build as opposed to the late game focused Jin build that we see Sung Yoon opting for.
Yeah, it's hard to be confident in the late game. We'll see how things kind of went in game number 1. But will be taken by Frozen.
Forcing Africa back out. Baron has been neutralized, but the end result is a 3,000 gold lead here for Africa, so they've got still a good opportunity, and they still are sitting on the Infernal Drake.
Right. Ixu trying to escape here. Uses that explosive cast, but Longzhu may have found a pick. Africa can't really come and save the Scrogus. Maybe get away, not quite. Oh! Snowflower picks him up right at the end. Ultimate drop dive by Tarek. That invulnerability coming in. Longzhu needs to be careful about the re-engage from Africa. We'll see, especially coming from the side. There's a curtain call from the Jin. Africa looking for it. Wow, he snipes gear off, and Longzhu could be in big trouble here.
They overcommitted to that. Now, once they chunked out Ixu, they shouldn't have gone any further. Ixu was so low, engaging after the Tahm Kench. devoured him was the big mistake because Fury wasn't there.
Yeah.
He was still trying to play catch up from the rear. He was nowhere near auto attack distance. And then Africa able to control that choke point. Now they've got a good chance to push down onto the mid lane. They've delayed one recall. Not going to get anything else, but they can't just double back and go for the Drake. Nice job by Lyra and Ixu there to delay.
Yep. Mountain Drake going to be taken by the African Freaks.
Wow, that was a guaranteed Mountain Drake too after they had chunked out Ixu.
Seemed that way, yeah.
They would have been able to kill it faster than I think he would have been able to recall and then get back with the teleport. So let's look at that. Now, this is a great opportunity for Longzhu. Ixu has to use Explosive Cask on himself. Okay, they're doing a lot of damage. Everything's looking good. And as soon as this comes through, and you got to just leave. Just back off. There's no point in going forward any longer. Fury just wasn't there. He is your major source of damage in these fights. You didn't provide a front line for him, so he gets hit by the Jin root. And then Pure just getting low from all of that poke. Curtain Call and Piercing Arrow doing most of the work right there. So, foolish follow-up. Africa could have just taken that poke victory against Ixu and turned it into a Drake. Instead, they lose it. And now Africa up 3 Drakes to 1.
Yeah. Going for a little bit of Baron control as well. So what will Longzhu's response be? Putting some pressure on the mid lane right now. They need a bit more.
QSS now actually picked up for Fury, so that wouldn't be happening again where he gets stuck with the Jin root, and it's one less way that Africa is going to have to be able to deal with the Kog'Maw, but of course going to delay the Blade of the Ruined King that he would love to pick up.
And Longzhu on the defensive in a big way now.
This is likely to be a really long game, though, either way. Africa, they've got a great advantage to help them scale into the late game with the Infernal Drake. Something that they probably needed, but Longzhu cannot be counted out of this one. We've seen similar Juggernaut compositions go, and there's going to be a TP.
Yeah, especially
Nice
coming from the
disengage.
side. And Ixu's going to come over the wall. Especially is right there, though, so they need to be kind of careful.
Africa pulling back when they see the TP coming
there
in.
we go. Curtain call time. Pure needs that damage blocked. It's so dangerous. Gets out of range just barely. Close call for Pure.
Pure really suffering off of that poke this game, and Africa finding him every time, realizing that he is the weak link. Now they're going to try and get a Baron off of it. They've got the Mountain Drake, so they can do it even faster.
Yep. Especially coming in from behind, though, gets a stun onto Mickey. Mickey eaten up by Snowflower immediately as Longzhu backs off from their engage. Time to try to avoid the poke. Pure is so low, though, already.
Yeah, Frozen just babysitting Pure, and that's not really where he wants the shields to be going, but he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd like to be able to shield the Kog'Maw so that Fury can go in and do a ton of damage.
Yeah, Kog'Maw still lacking that lifesteal also. So him healing up in these fights, difficult. Fury needs to get some form of lifesteal rolling. Bit of recall, we'll see what he picks up.
Yeah.
The answer is apparently nothing. Okay. I'm just curious whether he's going to go for Blade or completing the Mercurial Scimitar next. In any event, Vamp Scepter is really, really needed by Fury so that he has some counterplay to the poke that's coming in. He can heal up off of a minion wave or over the course of a team fight. Really core to Longzhu, and it looks like it's going to be a delay for Fury as to when he can get those items, because he can't really farm right now. They have to send Frozen into bottom just because of the threat of Baron, which looks like it's being done.
Maybe. No,
nope,
not yet. Just some wards.
Some wards, looks like. I thought for a second there that maybe it had been started up, but nope. Just Tom Kench, as Jin was still walking back from base. No real chance to get that objective done quite yet.
Elder Drake up in about 1:40. That's something to consider. You probably don't want to trade.
No, the Elder Drake is not terribly important compared to the Baron. But
Still nice to have. Longzhu, though, only with that one Mountain Drake previously.
yeah, certainly a more attractive prospect for Africa than Longzhu. Baron, much more valuable. And actually, Fury went for a cowl. He's going Banshee's Veil. Okay.
Better safe than sorry. I mean, it does prevent a little bit of damage from something like the Nidalee Spear, I suppose.
Yeah, also prevents the Gragas engage,
Yeah,
most likely.
that's a good point.
So Banshee's Veil, I would assume, is going to be the next item here for Fury. But again, prioritizing that over any form of lifesteal whatsoever is an interesting one. Holy cow, that damage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Fury, that's the thing, is that if Longzhu ever has a good team fight, Fury's just going to wreck them.
Question is whether Africa ever gives them one, right? They're not. Nobody's interested in actually team fighting on Africa. They're interested in poking and disengaging and then taking an objective, setting up a siege.
It's definitely a good idea to avoid it. Speaking of siege, the African Freak's trying to siege up this inhibitor turret. To get there anyway. Elder Drake is up now.
See, that's the problem for Longzhu, though, is just Fury getting poked out and not having much recourse. Good curtain call, just a zone.
Yep, that's right. Chance of Corruption hits Pure, but doesn't get a whole lot else done. Expansion and Crash diving into the back lines. Pure goes in with the ultimate on that Taric. Explosive Cast splits up the Longzhu team. Meanwhile, Songyun having to back away. Expansion helped pick up that kill. Crash actually the one who gets it. Ixu very low as well. Expansion ults back to get a little bit more help before he backs out of the fight. Fury, okay, but not able to do a lot of damage. Just not able to get close enough. So it's 1-for-1 for now, but a lot of low health members on Longzhu.
Such a tense game,
No
Doa.
kidding, it's
Expansion
so close.
had a great flank. Really good read there from Expansion. As soon as the curtain call drops, he is in the back line trying to disrupt Songyun. He actually is able to help pick up that kill with Crash. Unfortunately, Pure still squishy, dies in that front line after using his ultimate, and they can't pursue because the poke from the side, the constant spears prevent any kind of engage. Ixu is actually saved, doesn't even have his GA pop thanks to the Tom Kench Devour. Well played by both teams. Comes Africa for Baron attempt number 2.
This seems risky. They're doing it fast. Here comes the teleport. Yeah, they're going to have to back off of that. Longzhu coming down. Expansion completes the teleport.
He's taking so much damage from the Baron.
It's taking a little bit, yeah. Like that a lot bit.
We got hit by something right there that wasn't a Baron. Looks like he got hit by Lyra.
Nidalee Spear, yeah. And they could just go back onto it.
Yeah, they can. They burned the teleport, but again, Longzhu just sending whoever has the active teleport in to clear out the bottom wave. They've been very reliable in that sense, playing the map, playing the minion waves well. And Frozen has his TP up, so it's not as though they don't have an answer.
Yep. Longzhu back to defending their mid lane inhibitor turret. Frozen on the side. Pushing down bot. And the Afrika